Unbelievable beasts of the Bible, what Enoch saw that will shock you. Few knew what truly happened that night. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows on the silent ground. It was a night like no other, a night bursting with ancient secrets. Enoch, the seventh from Adam, wandered through the wilds, his heart drumming with both fear and awe. He had been selected for something monumental. Legends whispered of creatures beyond imagination, beings unseen by man for ages. As Enoch walked, he felt an unseen force guiding him, pulling him closer to the unknown. Shadows danced in the corners of his vision, flickering like candles in the wind. What had he stumbled upon? It was as if the air thickened with anticipation. A great chasm lay ahead, a ravine carved deep by time's hand. With each step, the ground trembled as if the very earth was alive. Enoch peered into the darkness below. Could it hold the bizarre beasts spoken of in hushed tones among tribes? Creatures with scales glistening like obsidian and eyes that burned through the night. As he descended, a low growl echoed through the canyon. His skin prickled. Was it fear or exhilaration? He pressed forward, captivated by an insatiable curiosity. Suddenly, an apparition emerged, towering and magnificent. Its wings unfurled like a storm, fierce and powerful. This creature, this seraph, was more than a mere beast. It radiated a light that both illuminated and terrified. History's long-forgotten scrolled through Enoch's mind. These were beasts not of this world but of a higher realm, guardians of secrets, keepers of time. It was whispered that they held the power to reshape destinies, walking the thin line between the celestial and the earthly. Yet here he stood, caught in their omniscient gaze. What was he doing here? Was he alone? Murmurs from unseen witnesses filled the air, a symphony of anxious breaths and whispers of past encounters. Enoch's heart raced, each beat echoing his hesitation. Did he dare approach this magnificent creature? Unanswered questions swirled around him, cloaked in mystery. As the world around him faded into darkness, Enoch's thoughts blurred into one chilling realization: he was chosen to witness this supernatural phenomenon. But at what cost? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The stillness of the chasm resonated with the weight of unspoken words, as Enoch stood before the seraph, his mind racing with questions that seemed to warp the fabric of his very being. The creature's eyes, like twin suns, bore into his soul, and he felt the gentle stirrings of knowledge begin to unfurl within him, beckoning him to understand the tapestry woven by divine hands. Fear not, the seraph's voice echoed, both a command and a comfort. You have not stumbled here by chance. Your steps were guided by the whispers of heaven and earth, drawn forth to this sacred threshold. Enoch swallowed hard, caught between disbelief and wonder. What purpose did the heavens see for a mere man like him? Yet he could not help but query, what is it you guard? What truth lies hidden beneath this heavy veil of shadows? The seraph hovered closer, the air shimmering with an energy that sent shivers coursing through Enoch's veins. In that moment, he was struck by an unearthly beauty, a sight that surpassed all earthly wonders. Wings adorned with feathers that seemed to capture light, and a presence that embodied both wrath and mercy. The beasts you fear, the truths you seek, all lie intertwined with the destiny of your kin. Beyond this ravine, realms collide, places where fate is unraveled and recreated, the seraph replied, its voice resonating like a chorus of angels. Enoch's heart quickened. Could it be that he had stumbled into a borderland where the line of human existence and divine purpose blurred? In a time long past, the seraph continued, the watchers descended, yearning to uncover the hidden paths of humanity. They found themselves entangled in the fabric of creation, forging destinies, yet causing imbalance. Enoch gazed into the seraph's penetrating gaze, and for a fleeting moment, he saw flashes of moments long buried, ancestral anger, cosmic cries for restoration, and the ripple of choices unfolding across history's stage. But these beasts, he pressed, feeling the weight of urgency, what role do they play in this celestial dance? The seraph's wings rustled, a gentle breeze stirring echoes of truth through the air. They are guardians of balance, entities born of the chaos and order that intertwine in creation's design. Some are born of darkness, others of light, each defining paths that weave through time. Yet, they cannot act without permission, their powers constrained by the very laws they were formed to uphold. Enoch struggled to comprehend the enormity of the revelation. Were the beasts he had heard whispers of not just creatures of fear, but reflections of humankind's own struggles? And my part in this? He asked, the enormity of his place in this divine orchestration pressing against his chest like a stone. What must I do, witness? The seraph proclaimed, with an intensity that filled the chasm. You will carry this truth with you, for there will come a time when understanding is needed to restore what has been lost. You will help guide your people toward unity, discern the signs, and unveil the tapestry of creation that foreshadows both decay and hope. Enoch felt the shadows close in, a sense of loss gripping him as he sought to voice the weight of his impending task. But how do I begin to unravel such a mystery? Where do I find my footing amidst uncertainty? The seraph bowed its head, its aura dimming for but a moment. Trust in the journey, for every step reveals layers of wisdom folded within the fabric of existence. Seek the heart of nature, commune with the creation, and in each encounter, the divine whispers may yet elucidate your path. With those final words, the seraph pulsed like a star, enveloping Enoch in a blinding light before fading into the depths from whence it came. Alone in the abyss, his heart thundered with newfound knowledge, yet questions hung heavy in the air. Would he truly be able to guide his people? And in this ever-complicated web of light and darkness, what would his legacy ultimately become? Enoch stood at the edge of the chasm, the fading light of the seraph still illuminating the cavernous expanse before him. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and the lingering echo of the celestial being's words. He felt a profound weight settle on his shoulders, a calling that both terrified and exhilarated him. The unseen tapestry of creation had begun to unveil itself, and he was meant to play a part. That he took a tentative step back from the crevice, squinting into the shadows where the light failed to reach. It was here that he often turned for solace, under the protective arms of ancient trees, their roots tangled deep in the earth. How often had he been lost in thought, reflecting on the mysteries of life, yet now he realized he had scarcely tapped into the depths of that relationship. Nature itself, in its silent song, might hold secrets waiting to be unearthed. Resolute, Enoch began the trek back to his village, the winding path a mirror of his own internal journey. Each rustling leaf overhead whispered of the life forces that pulsed throughout the world. He paused to touch the bark of a tree, feeling the rough texture beneath his fingers. Would nature speak to him? Could he interpret the signs as he sought to connect the divine whispers with the pulse of life surrounding him? As he moved forward, the day turned to twilight, and the deep blue sky began to glitter with the first stars. A sudden stir of movement caught Enoch's attention. A fox slipped through the underbrush, eyeing him curiously before darting away. In that fleeting moment, he felt a connection that transcended mere observation. The creature was free, wild, and unrestrained. Could it represent the untamed aspects of human existence? This thought lingered as he entered the village, which was bustling with evening activities. Children played in lantern light, while laughter mingled with the sweet scent of baking bread. Yet, clashing with this harmonious scene, Enoch sensed an undercurrent of fear. Whispers filled the air about beasts that roamed at night, devouring the crops and sowing discord. Fear had spread like a shadow over the hearts of his people, and in their unrest, the balance teetered precariously. He approached the gathering, his voice unsteady yet firm. "Friends, what burdens weigh upon your hearts?" The crowd turned, curiosity piqued, as Enoch observed their face worn with worry and doubt. It was clear his village was gripped in the throes of suspicion, awaiting deliverance that seemed to elude them. An elder stepped forward, his brow furrowed. "The beasts have returned, Enoch. They come in silence and leave ruin in their wake, and we do not know where to turn. The words hung thick like fog, wrapping Enoch in uncertainty and responsibility. Perhaps the path before us requires a deeper understanding, he replied, even as a wave of anxiety surged within him. What if we seek to forge a bond with these creatures instead of simply fearing them? Have we not been entrusted with a duty to protect the delicate balance of creation? Murmurs of dissent rippled through the crowd, some were intrigued, while others scoffed. The elder's voice rose above the commotion. And how do you propose we do such a thing? The tales we tell are of misfortune, not companionship. Feeling the weight of the moment, Enoch cast his mind back to the seraph's words. While fear separates us from understanding, love and compassion can unite our paths. We must learn to observe, to listen not only to each other but to the beasts we dread. In their presence lies both a warning and a message. Yet, even as he spoke, Enoch felt the whisper of doubt within. Was he truly prepared to face the beasts, to unlock the wisdom of the guardians cloaked in shadows? The villagers stood at a crossroads, their eyes searching his for certainty he was unsure he could provide. How could a man like him bridge the divide between his people and the very nature they feared? As the firelight flickered against the dusk, Enoch's heart thudded heavily in his chest. Ahead lay an uncertain path, filled with encounters that could either mend the rifts of humanity or further ensnare them in darkness. Closing his eyes, he breathed in the cool night air, resolute in his search for answers. How would wisdom emerge from the depths of both animal and human, and what truth awaited in the unspoken exchanges that lay ahead? The stars hung like watchful eyes in the heavens as Enoch prepared for the night ahead. A fire crackled before him, its warm glow a stark contrast to the chill that settled in his bones. The village around him was alive, yet their hearts were heavy, draped in the fabric of fear and uncertainty. Enoch felt the burden of their expectations, an unyielding weight urging him toward action. As the night wore on, shadows danced among the flickering flames, twisting into forms that seemed to echo the very beasts haunting their dreams. Enoch gazed into the fire, contemplating the nature of the darkness that mirrored the turmoil within. What drove these creatures to pillage their fields? Were they mere beasts driven by hunger, or did they bear a deeper purpose hidden beneath their savage guise? Enoch, a familiar voice called from behind. It was Bethuel, a childhood friend, whose face now bore the pallor of worry. What you spoke of earlier, you cannot truly seek to understand them, can you? They are a threat to our families. I must try, Enoch replied, meeting her eyes with determination. There is more here than meets the eye. The earth speaks, and if we are to listen, we may yet find a bridge between our worlds. Bethuel hesitated, her brow knit with skepticism. And while you seek wisdom, what of the children? What of the harvest? We are on the brink of losing everything. Her concern tugged at Enoch's heart, and yet he felt a calling deeper than fear itself. It beckoned him toward a journey that promised revelation. Perhaps our greatest task is understanding. We must invite what we dread to an open dialogue instead of condemning it to silence. As the fire's warmth flickered into the night air, whispers of hope mingled with the smoke. Enoch remembered, too, the ancient tales shared by the village's storytellers, the fortitude of brave souls who had ventured into the dark. If he could summon that courage, would others follow? Their paths were intertwined with the unknown and treacherous, yet ripe with potential for revelation and reconciliation. The following day dawned bright and clear, the sun illuminating the foliage around Enoch as he prepared for his venture into the wild. He gathered simple offerings, bread, grains, and water, concocting a humble peace offering that he hoped would resonate with the spirits of the land. His heart raced as he crossed into the outer reaches of the forest, the sounds of his village fading behind him. The crunch of leaves beneath his feet was a reminder of his isolation, yet it also underscored the simplicity of existence in nature. As he wandered deeper, the air became thick with the scent of pine and earth. He felt, at once, both vulnerable and emboldened. Reaching a small clearing, Enoch placed his offerings on the ground, simple tokens of goodwill, and knelt, his hands resting on the cool earth. "O custodian spirits of this land," he murmured, "we stand at the edge of misunderstanding. May the hearts of man and beast join in unity rather than despair. The forest held its breath as silence enveloped him. Minutes turned to hours, and yet he remained, a lone figure amidst the thrumming heart of nature. As twilight began to descend, a shiver raced along his spine, a rustle in the undergrowth caught his ear. Enoch's breath quickened as he felt the presence of something looming, veiled by the shadows interwoven with branches. A pair of eyes glimmered in the dim light, a creature unlike any he had ever seen. It emerged from the shadows, its form majestic and fierce, embodying both danger and beauty. The light of the setting sun glinted off its sleek fur, revealing the sinewy muscles beneath, poised as if ready to spring, and in that moment, something unexpected happened. Rather than flee or roar, the beast paused. It tilted its head, observing Enoch with a mixture of curiosity and wariness. Enoch stood still, battling his innate fears, and decided to mirror its quietude, waiting for a connection that transcended their differences. "Have you come to speak with me?" He dared to ask, his voice a mere whisper, a thread of hope that hung in the air between them. As night enveloped the forest, Enoch and the creature shared an enigmatic moment. He felt the stirring of something profound within him, the beginning of a dialogue he never knew he sought. Beneath the weight of uncertainty, could a bond form from this meeting, or would the magnitude of the unknown shatter their fragile communion? He questioned his courage as the stars blinked into existence above, their vastness a testament to the mysteries of life. Would understanding emerge from this first encounter, guiding him toward the truth that lay hidden in shadows? The chill of the evening air deepened as Enoch remained poised in the clearing, the ethereal sight of the creature before him casting a spell of both dread and wonder. The forest, with its myriad sounds of nightfall, became a silent witness to a sacred moment, seemingly suspended in time. Enoch's mind raced as he wrestled with what lay ahead, the gravity of this encounter pressing against his chest. The creature's eyes searched his, piercing yet gentle, as if attempting to unravel the intentions behind his humble offering. Enoch took a step closer, his heart drumming a fervent rhythm, yet he felt rooted to the spot, bound by an invisible thread of connection that whispered of something ancient. "What drives you, great being of the night?" he questioned, the words falling from his lips like autumn leaves, fragile and somehow reverent. In his spirit, he sensed that this creature bore within it the stories of his fears, the fears that had plagued his village and threatened their very way of life. The creature remained still, its gaze unwavering while the forest held its breath, enveloped in tension. Enoch recalled the stories spun by his forebears, where beasts were often depicted as mere harbingers of doom, symbols of destruction, relentless in their hunger. Yet here stood a living testament to the nuanced fabric of existence, more complex than tales of terror. He lowered himself to the ground, drawing forth the humble grains and bread from the earth to present. "These offerings hold no power of magic," Enoch spoke softly, "yet they carry my intent to understand, to bridge the chasm that separates us. I ask not for submission, but for peace." As if sensing the sincerity of his heart, the creature stretched its head forward, cautiously sniffing the offerings. Enoch's heart quickened as a flicker of understanding passed between them, a breath shared in that sacred moment. It was then that Enoch recognized a flicker of the divine woven within the creature, a representation of all that was sacred in creation. A sudden breeze rushed through the clearing, stirring the leaves and enveloping them both in its tender embrace. Enoch closed his eyes for a brief moment, contemplating that unseen force. Could it be the breath of the Almighty touching the essence of this encounter? Was he meant to speak not just with the creature but through it, to the greater tapestry of life surrounding him? The creature stepped closer, allowing Enoch to witness the powerful grace in its movements, each one deliberate and thoughtful. It was in those moments that he realized the true nature of the beasts that came into their fields. The hunger they represented ran deeper than mere sustenance. It was a yearning for connection, an echo of the longing that resided in the hearts of the villagers, now woven into the reality of this creature. Then, from somewhere in the shadows of the trees, a low growl reverberated, breaking the stillness of their communion. Enoch's heart sank. Was that a warning? An intruder? The creature beside him seemed to tense, its keen instincts alerting it to a potential threat. "Wait," he urged softly, feeling an urgency to diffuse any ensuing violence. "Let us not turn to fear, but to understanding. In unity lies our survival." As if contemplating his words, the creature glanced back toward the growl, its expression betraying a flicker of determination. An unexpected bond began to form between Enoch and the beast, one rooted in mutual respect and an unspoken pledge to hear one another's struggles. But just as quickly as that glimmer of hope took hold, shadows shifted, wars echoed in silence among the trees, and the darkness deepened. What if their connection was just the surface of a much darker reality that lurked on the edges of understanding? Thus, in the twilight of uncertainty, the ground beneath Enoch stirred with the possibilities. Was he merely a conduit for dialogue or something more? What unseen forces were weaving their stories through the presence of the beast, and how deeply were the ties between humanity and the wild intertwined? As the creature turned to him once more, he would have to confront the vulnerable truth. Could he, one man, navigate the complexities of existence shared with creatures of such formidable power? As the night enveloped his small enclave in the woods, Enoch stood at the precipice of revelation, questioning whether this path would lead to salvation or ruin. The forest pulsed with an unseen energy, as if the very roots of the earth were shifting beneath Enoch's feet. The growl that had sliced through the stillness now hung in the air, thick with menace but also a strange promise of understanding. Enoch felt a tug at his spirit, a call to step forward into the shadows, to confront whatever lay hidden amid the tangled branches and rustling leaves, but how could he venture into the unknown with the weight of fear pressing down upon him? The creature beside him remained, a striking figure of poise and quiet strength, its vibrant fur glinting in the moonlight. They were two souls caught in a web of fate, seemingly disparate yet yearning for communion. Enoch's heart whispered that perhaps the beast understood the darkness of fear better than he did. Listen, he murmured to the creature, eyeing the shadows as they danced menacingly. Together we stand a chance against the unknown. Let us not be defined by fear, but by a desire to seek truth. His voice, steady yet gentle, broke the silence as if forging a fragile bridge between predator and prey, between man and beast. The creature regarded him with its deep, knowing eyes, and for a fleeting moment, Enoch felt as if the boundaries between them blurred. It was not merely a beast poised to defend itself but a guardian of the wilderness, a steward of the stories woven into the fabric of life. In that communion, Enoch glimpsed the weight of its burdens, understood the longing that filtered through its fierce exterior. They shared a purpose deeper than survival. The growl emerged again, this time closer, each rasp an echo of raw emotion, a warning of an encroaching threat. Enoch turned to face the source from which it came, the shadows seeming to coalesce into a single form, large, imposing, unmoving. It was then that he felt it, a current of fear fluttering through the air, palpably sticky and suffocating. Who is there? Enoch called, trying to infuse authority into his voice, drawing strength from the being beside him. But his heart raced. What could be lurking in those depths? A bear? A more sinister presence crafted by nightmares. As if in response to his thoughts, the shadowed form stepped forward, revealing a monstrous figure, its eyes glistening like coals in the darkness. Enoch's breath caught in his throat. What he saw was a creature not born of nature but of a fearsome energy, a manifestation of despair that lingered within the woods. Was it the embodiment of all the anguish the villagers had felt, now taking shape before him? Enoch glanced at the being beside him. Could this creature be the counterpart to the dark force that approached? More than a mere animal, perhaps it was a spirit of the wild, an ancestral guardian sent to balance the scales of fear and understanding. Together, he said, breathlessly reaching out toward the creature. We must stand together against the darkness. His words hung in the air, a mantra of hope vying for life. In response, the beast by his side took a step forward, its posture shifting from one of caution to readiness. In that moment, Enoch realized they were both standing on a threshold, poised to confront a reality steeped in mystery. The monstrous being let out an earth-shattering growl, a sound that shook the very ground beneath them, as it lunged forward. Enoch felt the overwhelming energy course through him, a torrent of emotions and instincts coalescing into a resolve stronger than fear. Face it together, he shouted, heart tethered to the creature beside him. Yet, as they prepared to respond, an uncertain question lingered in the corners of Enoch's mind. would standing side by side with the beast be enough to protect them, or was this merely the beginning of something much greater, something that might unravel the very fabric of existence itself? Was it possible that the darkness holding this great creature loom ever closer was merely a mirror reflecting their own unresolved fears? As the first clash erupted, Enoch stood firm, contemplating not just the battle ahead, but the deeper truths that lay beneath the surface of this world, waiting yet again to be uncovered. The clash of wills sent a tremor through the forest, reverberating not just in the earth but echoing within Enoch's heart. The monstrous figure surged forward as Enoch and his guardian braced themselves. The creature beside him, steadfast and proud, unleashed a roar that seemed to peel back the veil of night, revealing the dimensional nature of the confrontation. In that roaring moment, Enoch understood that this was not simply a battle against a physical beast. No, it was an engagement with the very essence of fear itself, a confrontation with the shadows of his own soul. The air thickened with tension as his thoughts spiraled inward. What parts of his being had called forth this dark entity? Were they reflections of the doubts and sorrows he held, too timid to confront? As it lunged, the monstrous figure unleashed a blinding flash of dark energy, its eyes glimmering with a tempest of despair. With each powerful movement, it drew forth the unspoken fears of the forest, the echoes of heartaches, dashed hopes, and the anguish of every soul that had ever traversed these ancient woods. A soft whisper of realization swept over Enoch. This was a creature born not purely of malice but of a tapestry woven from the threads of collective sorrow and burden. Do not yield to fear, he cried, though he felt the weight of anxiety grip him. It is time to unmask the pain that binds us. With this proclamation, Enoch exuded a yearning for understanding, a willingness to embrace not just the guardian's strength but the lessons whispered within the shadows. His words seemed to break through the veil that separated them from the monstrous figure, drawing its attention away momentarily. In that instant, Enoch caught a glimpse of something deep within the beast, the raw vulnerability hidden beneath its monstrous exterior. Were they really that different? Both were seeking something, the guardian to preserve the balance of life, and the monster clinging to the remnants of despair. How deeply interconnected were fear and love within the heart of creation? Enoch pondered as he felt the energy around them shift. His own spirit flickered with hope, igniting the desire to unite the opposing forces rather than destroy one another. Was it possible that, by facing the darkness within, they could forge a new understanding that would echo through time? The monstrous figure hesitated for the briefest of moments, and Enoch seized the opportunity to draw closer. He stretched out his hand, not in defense but in an offering of reconciliation, a gesture that spoke of courage, connection, and compassion. "We do not have to fight," he murmured, a plea rather than a command. "Together, we can uncover the true nature of our fears." In the trembling silence, the shadows around them pulsed as if contemplating his words. The creature hardened its gaze but did not advance. There was a tenuous thread of recognition in its eyes, a glimmering flicker that suggested the possibility of trust. Enoch sensed the ancient wilderness holding its breath, waiting to see if this moment would bear fruit or spiral into chaos. The guardian at his side remained vigilant, its fur shimmering in the slivers of moonlight. With all their beings intertwined in this shared mission, they stood like sentinels at the brink of an abyss, poised to either fall deeper into despair or rise towards enlightenment. What truths lay hidden beneath the surface of this encounter? Enoch grappled with the understanding that this moment was only a chapter within a much larger narrative, a broader conflict that transcended time itself. The energies swirling around them spoke of battles fought long ago and those yet to come, lessons yet to be learned. As the tension thickened, Enoch felt a new realization blossoming within him. What if, rather than seeking to vanquish fear, the real challenge lay in understanding its origin? The question lingered within him like an echo, waiting for an answer. Could they truly harness the power of their fears to build bridges of unity, or would the clash deepen the chasm between them? In the stillness following Enoch's plea, the forest hushed, encompassing a silence that felt alive, electric. The tides of ancient stories swirled around him, as if the trees themselves leaned in to capture this fragile moment. Enoch's heart raced, not out of fear, but from a burgeoning sense of wonder. Would the creature before him, riddled with bleak reflections, respond to the spark of connection he offered? The monstrous figure, wreathed in the shadows of desolation, took a cautious step back. There was an imperceptible change in its demeanor, a flicker of intrigue and perhaps a hint of vulnerability. The dark energy it wielded pulsed rhythmically, echoing the heartbeat of the forest. Enoch marveled at the cosmic dance playing out around him, the convergence of light and shadow, of despair and hope. As he stood with his hand outstretched, he pondered the stories passed down through generations. Tales of creatures birthed from the very depths of the earth, forged in the fires of human anguish, came flooding back to him, the Leviathan, Behemoth, and countless others who roamed the pages of Scripture. Each one was not merely a beast to contend with, but a manifestation of collective struggles. They reflected an eternal battle within, where darkness and light were locked in a quest for understanding. What do you seek, Dark One? Enoch ventured, his voice steadying as the words rolled off his tongue. What binds you to this form of anguish? As he spoke, it struck him that identifying the cries of the creature might also unearth the hidden layers of his own heart. Were they not both wanderers in the vastness, craving freedom from chains forged by fear and sorrow? The beast shifted again, the nuanced movement speaking volumes. A low growl vibrated through the air, not entirely menacing, but rich with layers of pain. It was a sound that resonated deeply, as though it articulated fears not just of itself but of all who had ever dwelled in the shadows, of every soul lost among the thickets of their own making. With tentative compassion, Enoch ventured further, peeling back his own fears. I too am lost sometimes, he confessed, his voice soft as the evening breeze. I have battled terrors that have left their mark upon me. Together, perhaps we can understand the roots of our suffering. The guardian at his side exuded an aura of protective warmth, reminding Enoch that he was not alone in this endeavor. They were allies, each lending their strength to an unfolding cosmological drama. Enoch felt the connection deepen not merely between him and the creature, but a thrum of unity that wove through the very fabric of existence. In that shared space, Enoch observed the glimmer of understanding flare in the monstrous eyes glancing sideways at him. It was a moment suspended in time, ripe with the promise of discovery. Could fear be transformed into a teacher rather than a foe? Could the once terrifying visage give way to something more profound? Yet, a quiet darkness lingered. The creature trembled slightly, as if aware of the crossroads upon which it stood, cautious of the light, yet rooted in the very depth of its own despair. Was it truly capable of stepping into the light, or was it destined to remain shrouded in mystery and shadow? As the forest breathed softly around him, Enoch felt the weight of the moment shift again. What lay ahead loomed like an uncharted expanse, filled with possibilities yet hauntingly undefined. He wondered, with trepidation, if the darkness would embrace light or resist it, forever caged by its own enormity. Could he be the bridge that connected these worlds, light and dark, fear and courage, despair and hope? Or would the invitation cascade into chaos, swallowed by uncertainty? In this intertwining of fates, the question simmered, waiting for articulation in time. Could understanding ever truly coexist with fear, revealing a harmony that echoes beyond the immediate struggle? And would they find the courage to face the unknown together? The air felt thick with anticipation as Enoch and the beast lingered in their suspended exchange, each hesitant heartbeat echoing louder than the last. The looming trees, guardians of secrets for centuries, seemed to lean closer still, enveloping them in a thick shroud of expectancy. Enoch could feel the primordial energy crackling around them, a force both terrifying and utterly magnificent. Why do you tremble so? Enoch asked gently, his voice a fragile thread woven into the fabric of the tension-heavy air. He sensed the creature's hesitation deep within, a profound uncertainty that mirrored his own. Is not the breath of connection a balm to wounds unseen? The creature's growl softened, morphing into a mournful rumble that resonated through the earth beneath their feet. It was a sound that echoed tales of grief and loss, a lament for a love perhaps once known but subsequently abandoned, like a flickering flame in the eye of the storm. In that moment, Enoch felt a profound kinship. The creature's sorrow mirrored his own fragmented dreams. Tell me your tale, Enoch implored, sensing that truth lay hidden in its depths, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover it. The shadows flickered as if the woods themselves paused in collective breath, sitting comfortably within the vulnerability that had ensued. For a long moment, the behemoth considered Enoch's words, its eyes glowing with an ethereal light that seemed to pierce through the thick veil of despair. In that radiant gaze, Enoch felt flashes of vivid imagery. The creature's past flickered like starlight, moments of joy, of laughter, of companionship, vividly intertwined with threads of abandonment and betrayal. Each emotion born from both day and night, transmuting into the essence of its being, what has forged this form of anguish? Enoch reflected aloud. Is it the weight of sin, or sorrow for what was never fulfilled? The spiritual weight of such uncertainty lingered between them, heavy yet essential, as if they were navigating a sacred space woven by the threads of divinity itself. The creature shifted slightly, drawing its vast frame closer to Enoch, its dark energy still pulsating but lighter now, hinting at glimmers of recognition. It breathed in deeply, a sound that felt like a sigh released from eons of confinement, certain yet unsteady, hesitant yet yearning. In that moment, Enoch's heart whispered that perhaps understanding could birth redemption. Time felt elastic as they lingered in silence, a sacred pause filled with the collective weight of both their suffering. Enoch looked deep into the core of the creature's eyes, seeing not a monster but spirit, a being laden with experiences, yearning for acknowledgement and respite. We are mirrors to one another, Enoch pondered. Can we not unearth treasures hidden in the fractured shards of our lives? As dusk painted the horizon in shades of twilight, the atmosphere shifted again. Enoch felt the forest tremble slightly, an echo of shifting energies resonating through the roots and branches, translating his hopes and fears into a grand tapestry that bound him to the world around him. In that radiant moment of awakening, the connection between them deepened, and he sensed that he was privy to a cosmic truth, yet, the darkness still loomed. With every flicker of understanding, shadows sought to envelop what light had introduced. Will we prevail, or will we be overwhelmed? Enoch questioned, aware that the path ahead was uncertain. How could two incongruous beings unite when the very essence of their existences sprang from profound dissonance? As they remained intertwined in this sacred dialogue, a beast once feared and a man once lost, new reflections emerged. Would redemption listen to their combined voices? Could the connection surpass mere understanding and blossom into transformative union? And through this journey toward the light, would they unearth the unseen fears still tightly woven within and begin to forge an existence anew? Thus, shrouded in the resonance of their shared fears and aspirations, Enoch pondered the eternal question, can fear and understanding coexist, revealing not just a pathway to acceptance but an invitation to embrace a shared destiny? As dawn broke over the horizon, the sun spilled golden light across the battlefield of shadows and light where Enoch had stood all night. The cold air began to warm, carrying with it the fragrant promise of new beginnings. Enoch remained there, heart racing, body weary but spirit alive with the knowledge that what had transpired was not merely a fight, but the birth of something deeper. The creature stood before him, the once ominous presence now softened by an air of curiosity and reluctant hope. Both were transformed, sculpted by the sacred communion they had shared. Enoch felt the weight of the universe resting on their moment, and within him, a newfound authority began to flourish. We did not choose our burdens, he began, voice steady as he faced the beast. But perhaps it is time for us to share them, to lighten one another's loads. The creature's eyes flickered with understanding, a depth that mirrored the ancient wisdom of the forest, a promise that all burdens, if carried together, would be made lighter. With each word that fell from Enoch's lips, a sunbeam dared to pierce the edge of shadow, illuminating the truth hidden in darkness. This growing light dared to heal the wounds of time, while the surrounding beings of the forest felt the stirring of a symphony awakening from silence. It was an ethereal resonance of acceptance shooting through the trees, roots intertwining, as both man and beast became attuned to the symphony of life. I invite you to commune with my kind, Enoch continued, emboldened by some divine whisper that guided him. To join us at the edge of understanding, where fears can transform into knowledge. It need not be a battle but a dance of trust. In that moment, Enoch stood as a bridge, the manifestation of prophecy fulfilled, a harbinger of reconciliation tasked with awakening the spirit of unity flourishing beneath the surface of fear. The beast stepped closer, and Enoch could feel the shiver of awareness ripple through its sinewy form, reflecting a bond that extended beyond the realms of flesh. Together, They represented the duality woven into all creation, the aspect of light yearning for understanding and the shadow pressing forth for recognition. As the sun lifted higher, painting the world in hues of gold and green, Enoch, along with his newfound ally, slowly retreated from the wilds, toward the distant village that had awaited his return. The path was alive beneath their feet, imbued with a newfound vibration, a rhythm that spoke of life intertwining, weaving stories anew. When he approached the village, the murmurs among the people stilled as they sensed something different, an unfathomable shift in the energy of the air. Enoch stood tall, the creature steadily at his side, an unexpected ally casting aside the shadows of dread. The doubt that had etched itself across the villagers' faces began to fade as they saw both the fearsome beast and their friends standing united. "Listen!" Enoch called as he raised his arms in welcoming surrender, his heart alight with passion and purpose. Tonight, when darkness fell upon the land, it was not merely a beast that approached, but a creature shadowed by the pain of its existence. Fear has guided our narratives too long, it is time we choose the path of understanding. In the eyes of the villagers shimmered wonder, confusion, and an awakening transparency. What had once divided them now united them with a desire for healing. The elders approached, curiosity mingled with caution, echoing a flicker of hope as they listened. "The beast is not our enemy," Enoch continued, his voice a steady current in the tempest of apprehension. "It embodies everything we have neglected: our fears, our isolation, our raw longing for connection. Will we treat it as a monster or embrace it as a reflection of our own unaddressed struggles?" His words ignited a fire in their hearts, a reawakening that stoked the embers of understanding. The village, once ensnared in suffocating dread, began to glimpse the unknown with renewed eyes. The darkness that had grated against their spirit, transformed before their very gaze, it was becoming transparent as the barriers between them and their fears softened with each resonant beat of Enoch's revelation. The creature, poised at Enoch's side, moved closer to the gathering throng, its fearsome exterior shedding with every heartbeat, revealing the gentleness yearning to be heard. Gasps rose among the villagers as they saw not a monster but a being capable of connection, a spirit wrapped in the unbreakable threads of existence that cradled them all. The sun rose fully in the sky, gracing them all with warmth and light. "Come," Enoch urged, gesturing toward the creature, "let us not cower but step forth together. We owe it to ourselves to discover the wisdom hidden within the tales of creation, within the dance of light and dark." The villagers, filled with trepidation yet compelled by Enoch's courage, took tentative steps forward. Hesitant seeds of compassion began to bloom and intertwine as they reached out toward the unexpected alliance now standing before them. The sacredness of that moment enveloped them, a tapestry woven not of fear, but of connection, resonating with hope and rebirth. In their shared embrace, the energy shifted, and a powerful wave washed over them, a promise of reconciliation hidden beneath the surface of their lives. Enoch knew then that what had begun as a test would blossom into a new chapter, a legacy of love rooted in understanding, forged in the fires of their combined histories and fears, destined to resonate divergently throughout time. As the first notes of laughter and new friendships filled the air, Enoch felt the strains of cosmic harmony course through him, signifying that the future held uncountable possibilities waiting to be woven into the narrative of existence. No longer was he a mere witness to extraordinary beasts, rather, he had become a co-creator of the story, a story that spoke of unity, its threads forged both in struggle and joy. The light began to filter through the shadows. The miracle was not solely in the fearsome presence of creatures but in the revelations that awaited those brave enough to delve into the depths of connection. Thus the dawn heralded a new era, replete with lessons as ancient as time itself, and Enoch understood that the power of transformation lay not in the elimination of fear, but in the embrace of understanding, where every creature, man or beast, light or dark, could coexist in a realm of sacred dance, awakening spirit, and recognition. And so, the story would echo, from generation to generation, resonating through the ages, the reminder that within fear lies the greatest opportunity for awakening, the whisper of eternity urging every soul to tread into the light, hand in paw, and bridge the divides between heart and heart, as guardians of creation's wondrous tapestry.